Howdy, cowpokes. What do we got today? Well, we've got our delicious, and I mean that, this is a delicious gun, very tasty. We've got our delicious CZ75 P-01. This is the police version that was created for the Czech police and other groups around the world. It had the rubber grips, which were, you know, kind of squishy and comfortable, but I don't know, they just didn't look, as nice. So what I did was I'll put a link to these, to the Amazons. I want to say they were like 30 bucks. So these are G10, nicely sculpted. They're nicely checkered. Love the decocker. You can get them in all different colors. I got the snake skin. Thought that was a nice contrast, light and dark, with a little bit of black, so it kind of ties it in. Very grippy. What's nice about G10 is it's damn near indestructible. I don't know if it's like fiberglass and epoxy. It's a very tough material, and then you actually CNC machine it into shape. So it doesn't have to be molded. I mean, you could take a block of it and basically CNC machine it into whatever you want. The designs. What's also cool about that is then, you know, if you had some sharp edges on here and you wanted to knock them off, you could take these off and just sandpaper it. But if you ever notice, like if you try to sandpaper plastic, you know, some of it's dark and now it's the whitish gray because it's a different finish. You took the outside finish off. With this, the G10, you could lightly sand that and smooth out some of those edges if you felt the need. And then just wipe it with a cloth and it looks identical. It doesn't change how it looks. So you can shape them and sculpt them and make them kind of almost exactly how you like. So they're just held on by 2 screws. The stock screws were kind of ugly. They were like a Phillips head. And so they were just Phillips head screws. So what we did was they came with these new ones. They're a T10. So it's a Torx bit with a little rubber grommet. So you don't have to put Loctite on them. That little rubber bushing will help keep the tension on there. And they just popped right on. I mean, pop the old ones off, pop the old new ones on. What I do like about them is they're about 1.5 millimeters on each side, a little bit slimmer, which doesn't sound like much, but it's noticeably skinnier. Now, it might not feel as good as the soft rubber, but as far as like concealability and just naturally fitting in your hand, what's nice about it being slightly skinnier is that when your hand goes this way, in a lot of ways, if you ride a motorcycle, it's very similar to, you can look at 2 bikes that have the same seat height, but when one has a narrow seat, it's easier to flat foot than the one that's the wide seat, because then your legs have to go out and around and then down. It's the same way here. Your hand, think of this as, you know, these are your legs, the thumb and the finger, and this is your butt. When you're sitting on something wide, your hand goes like that, which makes it harder to reach down. When it's narrower, they come in more. And so, you know, one thing with the CZ is for some people is that it, you know, it's long reach to the trigger. And now it's just that little bit shorter. So I think it looks great. It feels great. We'll get it to the range and do a shooting review of this thing soon, along with some others. But great little gun. And definitely for 30 bucks, looks so much better. They weren't horrible, but they look like, you know, cheap plastic or rubber grips. So these you can kind of snazz it up a little bit. Keep your grip when it's wet. They're nearly indestructible. They got some good traction without being like some of the textured plastic pistols you get sometimes. Those things are almost like cheese graters on your side. So this isn't like that. And what you can do, again, is, you know, if you wanted to sand that down, if it was rubbing your love handle a little bit when you're carrying it, and you want to just sand that just a little bit, like along that edge right there, it's a little sharp. I'll just take a little piece of sandpaper and knock that off. Take it off the gun so you don't sandpaper the finish. But feels great. And I think you'd agree it looks pretty damn good too. So anyway, that's our little upgrade. And then I got a Phobos holster, paddle holster for it. I'm not finding a ton of holsters for these. So I like the Phobos, you know, just click it on your belt. It's just a paddle holster, nice and comfortable. It's waterproof, sweat-proof, you know. What's not to like? Love this pistol, one of my favorite guns. Anyway, check them out. I think they're made by a company called Guns, G-U-N-Z-Z, but look in the description. You'll see the link.